Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Limitless Lives. I'm your host, Nilesh Patel. Today, we're going to talk about the ego. We'll delve into what the ego really is, how it can sometimes take the wheel in our lives, and most importantly, how you can reclaim your power from it. Now, Freud saw the ego as a balancing act between our basic instincts and our moral compass. But the ego isn't just a mediator, it's the part of us that impacts our overall health. It's necessary for survival, helping us assert our individuality, yet it can spiral into a persona that overshadows our true self. For our purposes, your ego is that voice in your head that's always chatting away, often about yourself. It's that part of you that often feels offended when someone criticizes you, that feels superior when you achieve something, or inferior when you fail. It's that part of you that's always comparing, judging, and categorizing. Does that sound familiar? We all have it. Now, having an ego isn't a bad thing. In fact, it's a crucial part of our human experience. It helps us navigate the world, make decisions, and establish a sense of self. However, problems arise when the ego starts to run the show, making decisions based on fear, insecurity, or the need for external validation. The ego loves to feel important. It thrives on comparison and competition, seeking validation in the form of status, wealth, recognition, or even likes on social media. It's as if the ego is always asking, am I good enough? Am I better than them? When the ego is in control, it can lead to feelings of unhappiness and dissatisfaction. You might find yourself constantly chasing external validation, never feeling quite fulfilled. It's like being on a hamster wheel, constantly running but never getting anywhere. So how do we reclaim our power from the ego? Firstly, recognize the ego isn't you. Imagine the ego as a pair of tinted glasses through which you see the world. To reclaim your power, it's really important to remember that you can take these glasses off. Consider a situation where a friend gets a new car and you notice a twinge of envy. Instead of acting on that feeling or criticizing yourself for it, simply observe it. Acknowledge the thought. Oh, there's the ego again, feeling envious, and then let it go. This mindfulness creates the space between you and the ego's immediate reactions. When we understand our ego, we can start to steer it in more constructive directions. For example, in a relationship, instead of demanding attention to feel valued, we can communicate our needs openly, using the ego's drive to foster deeper connections rather than conflict. By noticing our thoughts, emotions, and reactions, we can start to see the patterns of our ego. We can observe when we're acting out of ego-based fear or desire, and when we're acting out of a place of authenticity. When facing failure, the ego might berate us, but self-compassion allows us to say, I'm learning and that's okay. And then just observe and just watch how the ego's harsh judgments simply dissolve away. Next, focus on the intrinsic values. The ego loves external rewards like money or status, but these are often fleeting and outside of our control. Intrinsic values, on the other hand, are the things that matter to us deeply, like personal growth, relationships, or contributing to the community. These are all things that fulfill us from the inside out, regardless of external recognition. Lastly, practice gratitude. The ego is always looking for what's missing, what's not good enough. By cultivating an attitude of gratitude, we can shift our focus onto what's already good in our lives. This could be as simply as writing down 3 things you're grateful for each day. Reclaiming your power from the ego is not about destroying it or silencing it. It's about recognizing when it's in the driving seat and gently guiding it to the back. It's about creating space for the other parts of you to shine. Your creativity, your compassion, your wisdom. There will always be days when the ego takes the wheel again, and that's okay. The goal is not to be egoless, but to live in harmony with it, recognizing its voice, but choosing not to let it dictate your life. We have the power to choose how we perceive ourselves and our world, and in that choice lies our ultimate power and freedom. Never let your ego tell you otherwise.